It's not only just America since 1973 that sacrificed over 50 million children. In Uganda, it's actually a thriving business to sacrifice children. Let's go there right now. Brace yourself. It is very tragic. A thriving business sacrificing children in Uganda. Let's take a look.
It's a little after 2 in the morning, about an hour's drive south of Kampala. CBN News has joined undercover detectives, armed police, and a pastor hunting for a witch doctor accused of kidnapping and killing children.
Witch doctors believe that when you kidnap a child, you get wealth, you get protection.
Pastor Peter Siwakiyanga leads the search. He runs Champesi Child Care Ministries, a Christian effort to stamp out child sacrifice in Uganda. He describes the witch doctor's brutal ritual.
When they get the child, most times they cut the neck, they take the blood out, they cut the genitals or any body organs that the spirits want. In a sense, it involves the child dying.
A few hours in, the trail for the killer goes cold. Pastor Peter says these gruesome crimes happen almost each month.
And there are very few actually that survive. Most of them die.
I had high hopes and dreams for Clive.
Rachel Kasingu's 3-year-old son Clive disappeared June 2nd, 2015, while playing in the backyard of their home.
It was around 10 in the morning when we noticed he was nowhere to be found.
CBN News met Kasingu the day police told her what happened to her son.
I've never even heard of child sacrifice. I didn't even know what the phrase meant.
Detective Emmanuel Mafunda took us to the spot, not too far from his home, where they found Clive's remains in this pit toilet filled with human feces. Mafunda said the key suspect turned out to be Kasingu's neighbor, a wealthy businessman who allegedly hired 2 men to kidnap and mutilate Clive's body, believing the act would bring good luck to his new hotel project. Detective Mafundo said the suspect paid the equivalent of $1,400 for Clive's life.
I found it so queer how someone, because of superstition, can be able to sacrifice a 3-year-old kid.
Child sacrifice today in Uganda is such a serious and widespread problem that the government has even set up an anti-child sacrifice and human trafficking task force. Chief Investigator Moses Binoga says that in addition to decapitation, witch doctors often slice the child's tongue and mix it with herbs for special powers.
The tongue is used to silence enemies.
Mike Chibita is Uganda's top law enforcement official, the equivalent of America's Attorney General. He says superstition and the desire to get rich quick contribute to high child sacrifice rates in his country.
The connection is these witch doctors come and tell people who want to get rich that in order to get rich, you need to sacrifice human blood.
Best friends Kanani Nankunda, George Mukisa, and Alan Simbatia are fortunate to be alive, but bear the physical and emotional scars of their past. The 3 are child sacrifice survivors. A few years back, Kanani and his 7-year-old sister were attacked in the bush. He has a 10-inch scar on the back of his neck where the witch doctor tried to drain his blood.
I fainted, and when I regained consciousness, I found my sister dead with her head missing.
2 men attacked Alan Simbatia on his way home from school.
I tried to scream for my parents, but my voice was not strong enough for them to hear me.
They stabbed his neck, sliced his head with a machete, then castrated him. Alan remained in a coma for 2 months after his miraculous rescue. George Mukisa's mother found him lying in a pool of blood after a man castrated his privates with a blunt knife. Doctors had to reconstruct his genitals with skin grafted from his forearm. The boys say they encourage each other to look past their physical challenges.
God is helping us in many different ways. When we think about what happened to us, we just pray and ask God that this would never happen to anybody else.
The three boys are now under Pastor Peter's care. Champisi Child Care Ministries is the only organization in the country providing long-term financial and medical care for survivors of child sacrifice.
We want to see that the life of a child who has survived is supported, that they are socially able to stand and heal from the injuries, and that they can have a life after that.
Rachel Kasigo says life without Clive will never be the same. Still, she has a message for the men who brutally murdered her 3-year-old son.
Because of my faith in Jesus, I believe in second chances, and I would give it to them because there's nothing I can do to bring Clive back. My message to them is confess your sins and come to the Lord, because when you come to the Lord, He will forgive your sins.
George Thomas, CBN News, Kampala, Uganda.
This is such a tragedy. I mean, you think about this witchcraft and sacrificing for wealth so they could have more money. But you think about it, that's exactly what's happening in different countries. Happening in America, 50 million children aborted. The Center for Medical Progress, led by David Daleiden, went in allegedly undercover and recorded American citizens in the abortion clinics in Planned Parenthood selling baby body parts, parts in demand. And some of the doctors talking about she wanted a sports car, she wanted wealth. And they were talking about sending these body parts through Federal Express, reportedly. You know, allegedly each part getting its own Federal Express identification number to be able to go to different places. It's happening throughout the world. It's happening in America. And it's such a tragedy. And it's based on this witchcraft and this thing about, you know, people wanting more. The reason why somebody takes the life of their child is he wanted a better hotel. The reason why somebody takes the life of their child in their womb, they don't want to spread their money out. It costs them too much. We had a program called, you know, single or childless by choice. They were saying, why would you want to pay this amount of money for a child when you could spend it on yourself? You know, and they were talking about, you know, it just costs too much money to have children. Well, taking your child's life because you want to have a bigger house or bigger car, it's no different than this doctor who, or this particular business owner, taking a child's life in his own warped believing so he could have more money. We cannot end life. The innocent bloodshed of life, God's going to hold us accountable for that. And it's so important for us not only to pray for Uganda, but pray for America that this would end. And it's witchcraft. And we get back from this break, you're going to hear about literally witches putting out anti-Trump witchcraft bindings towards our president, speaking these things out against our president. We got to begin to pray for those in authority. We got to ask God to end the sacrifice of children. And we'll talk more about that after the break. Join us after the break. Welcome back. John, this is tragic, you know, what we just had on the program, you know, the sacrifice of children that's taking place in Uganda, a thriving business. This man wanted a prosperous hotel, so his false beliefs are that's how dangerous false beliefs are.
Yeah.
This
witchcraft.
Witchcraft, that he kills a child, he has more money.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that's happening in America. We heard them say specifically on Childless by Choice, when they talked about it, he says, I am not going to, it costs, they said $1 million to raise a child. You know, and I don't know what book that's from, but they're saying is, I want the $1 million, I don't want the child, take the child's life. And it's like, we're going to be held accountable for those things. And just as tragic as it is in Uganda, it's how tragic it is in America.
Absolutely.
Especially when we see firsthand the video allegedly taken by David Daleiden and the Center for Medical Progress, where they're actually taking the arms, the legs, out
of a petri dish, you can see with your own eyes.
And they are saying specifically, this organ's in demand, this organ's in demand. The same thing, they're cutting off those poor children, the same thing, they're cutting off the babies in the womb, and they're sending them around. It's the same, you know, it's evil. Thank you for watching VFNtv. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at VFNtv.com.